5 minutes left to see the truth about what your soulmate is really doing. Don't scroll, listen to this because your heart needs this right now. This message is for you. If these words found you today, pause for just a moment. Don't rush past them. There may be a reason your heart felt drawn here at exactly this time. Maybe you've been sensing that something has shifted. Maybe you've felt an unexplainable pull toward someone you haven't heard from in a long time. Maybe you've woken up thinking about them without knowing why. Listen to this, because your heart needs this right now. The next few moments are not about fear. They are about clarity. Sometimes the universe doesn't reveal a hidden truth to hurt your heart. Sometimes it reveals it so your heart can finally stop carrying the weight of endless questions. There is something unfolding in your soulmate's life that they have kept completely to themselves, and whether they realize it or not, it has everything to do with the connection they still carry inside. For a long time, your soulmate convinced themselves that the safest thing they could do was remain silent. They believed silence would protect both of you. They believed enough time would make old emotions disappear. Every morning they buried themselves in work. Every afternoon they filled their schedule with responsibilities. Every evening they distracted themselves with conversations, entertainment, and routines that kept their mind occupied. To everyone around them, they appeared perfectly fine. Friends assumed they had moved forward. Family believed they had accepted whatever happened between the two of you. Even your soulmate repeated that story to themselves often enough that they almost believed it. But deep inside, another story was quietly unfolding. Every quiet moment brought your memory back. Every peaceful evening reminded them that there was still one part of their heart they had never truly confronted. This message is for you. Think about your own journey for a moment. There was a season when you searched everywhere for answers. Every notification made your heart race. Every unfamiliar phone number made you wonder if it could somehow be connected to them. Every dream seemed filled with hidden meanings. You wanted certainty more than anything else. But life slowly transformed you. Healing didn't arrive all at once. It came one ordinary day at a time. You learned that your peace could not depend upon another person's timing. You learned that your value never changed simply because someone else struggled to express what they felt. Those lessons became the foundation of a stronger version of yourself. Don't scroll. Because your heart needs this right now. The truth about your soulmate isn't what most people would expect. It isn't built around dramatic secrets or unbelievable revelations. The real truth is much quieter, and much more powerful. They have been living with a conversation inside their heart that never truly ended. They replay moments between the two of you more often than anyone around them realizes. They remember the little things most people would have forgotten years ago. They remember your encouragement during difficult seasons. They remember the way you celebrated their smallest victories. They remember feeling emotionally safe in your presence without having to pretend they had everything figured out. Those memories no longer feel like pieces of the past. They feel like reminders of the person they were becoming when you were together. Listen to this, because your heart needs this right now. Your soulmate has begun noticing strange moments that interrupt their ordinary routine. They hear a familiar phrase that reminds them of something you once said. They pass a place where the two of you shared an ordinary conversation that suddenly feels unforgettable. They hear a song they haven't listened to in years, and without warning, your face fills their thoughts. At first, they dismissed these moments as coincidence. But they kept happening. Again and again. Until eventually they stopped asking why they kept remembering you and started asking a much more important question: why do these memories still make me feel like something important was left unfinished? This message is for you. Perhaps you've also noticed small reminders appearing in your own life. Maybe you've been seeing repeating numbers like 111 whenever hope quietly returns, 222 during moments when patience feels difficult, or 444 when reassurance arrives just as uncertainty begins growing inside you. Whether you interpret those moments spiritually or simply as meaningful reminders, allow them to encourage your heart. Sometimes growth happens beneath the surface long before circumstances visibly change. Don't scroll, because your heart needs this right now. There is something your soulmate has stopped doing. They have stopped pretending that your connection meant less than it actually did. For years they tried convincing themselves that what happened belonged entirely in the past. But every new experience quietly challenged that belief. They met people who were exciting but emotionally unavailable. They experienced conversations that sounded impressive but lacked sincerity. They discovered that attention without trust quickly loses its meaning. Little by little, they realized that what they valued most was never excitement alone. It was peace. It was honesty. It was the feeling of being deeply understood. And those were the very gifts they experienced with you. Listen to this, because your heart needs this right now. Imagine your soulmate sitting quietly after another ordinary day. The room is peaceful. Their phone rests nearby, untouched. There is no dramatic event taking place. No loud announcement. Just silence. And in that silence, they begin asking themselves questions they avoided for years. Why do I still compare people to them? Why does their kindness still stay with me? Why does my heart become quieter whenever I remember the life we almost built together? Those questions no longer frighten them. They awaken something far more powerful than fear. They awaken honesty. This message is for you. As all of this unfolds inside your soulmate, never forget your own journey. Continue protecting the peace you worked so hard to build. Continue choosing relationships rooted in honesty instead of confusion. Continue believing that your worth has never depended upon another person's readiness to recognize it. If someone ever walks back into your life, let them meet the version of you who understands that genuine love is measured through consistent actions, mutual respect, emotional safety, and truth. Don't scroll, because your heart needs this right now. The title spoke about seeing the truth, and here it is. The truth isn't that your soulmate has forgotten you. The truth isn't that they erased your story from their heart. The truth is that while the world believed they had moved on, they have quietly been confronting emotions they never fully understood until now. Reflection has become gratitude. Gratitude is becoming courage. Courage is slowly becoming a desire to stop hiding behind silence. And as this chapter comes to an end, another is quietly beginning. In the next part, you'll discover the unexpected moment that forces your soulmate to stop running from the truth they've carried for so long, changing the direction of their heart in ways they never imagined possible. Don't scroll, listen to this because your heart needs this right now. This message is for you. The truth your soulmate has been trying to avoid is getting closer to the surface with every passing day. For years, they believed that if they stayed busy enough, worked hard enough, and filled every empty moment with distractions, the questions inside their heart would eventually disappear. They thought enough time would erase every emotion connected to your name. But life has a remarkable way of revealing what truly matters. The heart remembers what transformed it, even when the mind tries to move on. Listen to this, because your heart needs this right now. What your soulmate is really doing is not forgetting you. They are quietly rediscovering the part of themselves that only awakened because of the connection you shared. Every morning begins the same way. They wake up, check their phone, prepare for another ordinary day, and tell themselves that life is moving exactly as it should. On the outside, everything appears completely normal. Friends see someone who is focused. Family sees someone who seems content. Coworkers believe they have everything under control. No one notices the small pauses between conversations. No one notices how certain memories unexpectedly interrupt their thoughts. No one notices how often your name quietly crosses their mind without warning. The world only sees the version of them that smiles. It does not see the version that sits alone at night wondering why one connection continues echoing through their heart while so many others quietly disappeared. This message is for you. While your soulmate has been confronting emotions they once refused to acknowledge, your own heart has been growing in extraordinary ways. There was a season when you believed your happiness depended on answers from someone else. You searched for signs everywhere. You questioned your own worth because another person's silence felt deeply personal. But healing slowly changed your perspective. One day at a time, you began trusting yourself again. You realized that your kindness remained valuable even when it wasn't fully appreciated. You learned that peace comes from within, not from waiting for another person's emotional readiness. That wisdom has become one of your greatest strengths. Don't scroll, because your heart needs this right now. The universe has been working quietly in both of your lives, teaching different lessons that somehow lead toward the same destination. You were learning how to love yourself without conditions. Your soulmate was learning what happens when fear is allowed to speak louder than honesty. You discovered that self-respect creates lasting peace. They discovered that emotional avoidance creates lasting regret. Every lesson has been shaping both of your hearts in ways neither of you could fully understand while living through them. Listen to this, because your heart needs this right now. Your soulmate has started paying attention to moments they once ignored. They hear someone laughing the way you used to laugh, and suddenly they're smiling without realizing why. They walk past a familiar place and remember a conversation that seemed completely ordinary at the time but now feels unforgettable. They hear someone offering encouragement to another person and instantly remember the countless times you believed in them before they believed in themselves. These are not random memories. They are reminders that genuine emotional safety leaves an imprint no amount of time can erase. This message is for you. Perhaps you've also noticed your own intuition becoming stronger. Instead of reacting with fear, you now pause and reflect. Instead of chasing certainty, you trust your own heart. Maybe you've continued seeing repeating numbers like 111 whenever new hope begins growing, 222 during seasons that require patience, or 444 when reassurance quietly arrives. Whether you see these moments as spiritual guidance or meaningful coincidences, allow them to remind you that your story is still unfolding exactly as it should. Don't scroll, because your heart needs this right now. The truth about what your soulmate is really doing may surprise you even more. They have quietly stopped comparing you to other people. Instead, they have started comparing everyone else to the emotional peace they once experienced with you. They now understand that excitement fades if trust is missing. Attention loses its meaning without consistency. Beautiful words become empty when they are not supported by genuine care. Every new experience has quietly taught them to appreciate what they once overlooked. They are beginning to recognize that the greatest gift you offered was never dramatic romance. It was the freedom to be completely themselves without fear of judgment. Listen to this. Because your heart needs this right now. Imagine your soulmate sitting quietly after another ordinary evening. Their phone rests beside them, but they aren't scrolling through social media. They aren't distracted by entertainment. They are simply thinking. They replay old conversations in their mind. They remember opportunities they allowed to pass because fear convinced them there would always be another chance. They remember moments when they almost reached out but stopped themselves at the last second. Then one question quietly rises above every other thought. If my heart has never truly let go, what am I still waiting for? That question changes everything because there is no longer an easy excuse to hide behind. This message is for you. Continue honoring the person you have become. Continue protecting the peace you worked so hard to build. Continue believing that genuine love should feel safe, respectful, and honest. If someone returns to your life, let them meet the healed version of you, the version that understands trust is built through actions, accountability, and consistent effort. Your growth deserves to remain part of every chapter that follows. Don't scroll, because your heart needs this right now. What your soulmate is really doing is preparing for a truth they can no longer avoid. Reflection has become gratitude. Gratitude has become humility. Humility is becoming courage. They no longer wish to spend another season pretending their heart feels something different from what it truly feels. Every lesson life has placed before them has quietly been preparing them for one simple realization. Honest love always asks for honest action. Listen to this, because your heart needs this right now. Keep trusting your own journey. Keep choosing hope without sacrificing your self-respect. Keep believing that every difficult season strengthened your spirit rather than diminished it. Because your soulmate is no longer running from the truth hidden inside their heart. They are walking toward it. And in the next chapter, the quiet realization that has been growing inside them will become impossible to ignore, bringing them closer than ever to the moment when silence finally gives way to honesty and the truth they've carried for so long begins changing everything. Don't scroll, listen to this because your heart needs this right now. This message is for you. The truth your soulmate has been carrying is no longer something they can quietly push into the background of another ordinary day. It has become the silent companion that follows them everywhere. Every sunrise reminds them that another day has passed without saying what has lived inside their heart for years. Every sunset reminds them that time keeps moving whether people are ready or not. Listen to this, because your heart needs this right now. Life has a remarkable way of removing every distraction until the only thing left standing is the truth we tried so hard to avoid. That is exactly where your soulmate finds themselves now. The walls they built around their emotions are not collapsing because someone forced them to. They are falling because they no longer have a reason to remain standing. For a long time, your soulmate believed they understood the difference between remembering someone and missing someone. They thought memories were simply echoes of the past that would naturally fade with time. But something unexpected happened. Instead of fading, your memory quietly evolved. It stopped feeling like nostalgia and started feeling like wisdom. They no longer remembered only your face or your voice. They remembered how your presence changed the atmosphere of their life. They remembered how conversations with you brought calm instead of confusion. They remembered that you celebrated their victories without jealousy and comforted their failures without judgment. Looking back, they realized that what they missed most was not a single moment. They missed the version of themselves that felt completely accepted while standing beside you. This message is for you. While your soulmate has been rediscovering those truths, you have been walking your own sacred path of healing. There was a season when your heart carried more questions than answers. You wondered whether love had simply been a lesson disguised as a promise. You questioned whether your kindness had been appreciated at all. Yet slowly, almost without noticing, your perspective changed. You stopped searching outside yourself for validation. You began finding peace in your own growth. You realized that your ability to love deeply was never your weakness. It was one of your greatest strengths. The problem was never that your heart loved too much. The problem was that someone else's fear prevented them from receiving that love fully. Don't scroll, because your heart needs this right now. The universe has been teaching both of you through completely different experiences. You learned that self-worth must exist even when someone else cannot recognize it. Your soulmate learned that genuine love cannot survive indefinitely when honesty is absent. Every difficult season has quietly been shaping two hearts that are far wiser than they were before. Nothing you endured has been meaningless. Every disappointment refined your intuition. Every unanswered prayer strengthened your resilience. Every quiet tear became part of the foundation beneath the person you are today. Listen to this, because your heart needs this right now. There is one habit your soulmate has developed without even realizing it. Whenever something meaningful happens in their life, their first instinct is still to imagine telling you about it. They receive good news, and your name quietly crosses their mind. They overcome a difficult challenge, and they wonder how you would have encouraged them. They experience a beautiful sunset, hear a moving song, or laugh at something unexpectedly funny, and for a brief moment they instinctively wish you were there to share it. That instinct surprises them every time because it reveals something they have tried for years to deny. The emotional space you once occupied has never truly been replaced. This message is for you. Perhaps you've noticed yourself becoming more peaceful recently. You still believe in meaningful connections, but you no longer believe they require you to sacrifice your dignity. Maybe you've continued seeing repeating numbers like 111 when hope quietly returns, 222 during moments when patience is strengthening your spirit, or 444 whenever reassurance arrives just when you need it. Whether you see these moments as signs from the universe or simply meaningful patterns, allow them to remind you that your journey continues unfolding with purpose. Don't scroll, because your heart needs this right now. Your soulmate has finally begun asking themselves a question that changes everything. They no longer ask, "What if reaching out changes nothing?" Instead, they ask, "What if remaining silent changes me into someone I never wanted to become?" That shift is powerful because it moves their attention away from fear of the outcome and toward responsibility for their own choices. They are beginning to understand that honesty is not valuable because it guarantees a certain response. Honesty is valuable because it allows the heart to live without pretending. Listen to this, because your heart needs this right now. Imagine your soulmate sitting quietly after another ordinary evening. The room is still. Their phone lies beside them. They scroll through old photographs, not searching for pain, but searching for perspective. They see two people who once laughed without realizing how precious those moments would become. They remember conversations filled with dreams about the future. They remember promises that were never fully spoken because fear interrupted them before the words could escape. As they reflect, another realization quietly settles into their heart. They cannot rewrite yesterday, but they can decide what kind of person they become tomorrow. This message is for you. Never allow someone else's awakening to erase the wisdom your own healing has given you. Continue honoring your boundaries. Continue protecting your peace. Continue choosing relationships built upon honesty, consistency, respect, and mutual effort. Those lessons belong to you now. They are part of your future, regardless of who walks beside you. Don't scroll, because your heart needs this right now. The truth about what your soulmate is really doing has become beautifully clear. They are no longer hiding from their emotions. They are preparing themselves to live differently than before. Reflection has become humility. Humility has become gratitude. Gratitude is becoming courage. Every lesson life has placed before them has quietly prepared them to stop allowing fear to write the story of their future. Listen to this, because your heart needs this right now. Continue trusting the journey that has shaped your heart. Continue believing that every difficult chapter strengthened your spirit instead of breaking it. Because your soulmate is standing at the edge of a decision that has been years in the making. The silence that once felt safe has become too heavy to carry. The truth that once stayed hidden has become too meaningful to ignore. And in the next chapter, the quiet awakening that has transformed their heart from the inside will finally begin shaping real choices, bringing them closer than ever to the moment when words long buried beneath fear finally find the courage to be spoken. Don't scroll, listen to this because your heart needs this right now. This message is for you. The truth has been getting closer with every passing day, and your soulmate can no longer pretend they don't feel it. What once seemed like an ordinary memory has become something much deeper. It follows them through quiet mornings, unexpected afternoons, and peaceful evenings when the noise of the world finally fades away. They have reached the point where distractions no longer work the way they once did. The projects, the conversations, the routines, and the responsibilities still fill their calendar, but they no longer silence the voice inside their heart. Listen to this. Because your heart needs this right now. There comes a season when the soul grows tired of carrying unfinished stories. Your soulmate has entered that season, and everything they thought they understood about themselves is beginning to change. For years, they convinced themselves that the chapter between the two of you had already closed. They repeated that belief so often it almost sounded true. They told themselves that moving forward meant never looking back. They believed maturity meant pretending the past no longer mattered. Yet life quietly challenged every one of those assumptions. Every meaningful relationship they experienced afterward taught them something unexpected. They met people who made them laugh but never truly understood them. They met people who admired them but never saw the parts of them that needed compassion instead of perfection. They met people who offered attention but not emotional safety. With every experience, they found themselves remembering you, not because they wanted to stay trapped in the past, but because your presence had quietly become the standard their heart used to recognize sincerity. This message is for you. While your soulmate has been discovering what genuine connection truly means, you have been discovering what genuine self-worth feels like. There was a time when your happiness depended on answers you could never force someone else to give. Every unanswered message created another question. Every silent day felt heavier than the one before it. But healing transformed that version of you. You learned to stop asking whether you were enough. You began recognizing that you had always been enough. Your kindness remained beautiful even when it wasn't fully appreciated. Your loyalty remained meaningful even when it wasn't returned in the way you hoped. Those realizations became the strongest foundation beneath your future. Don't scroll, because your heart needs this right now. The universe has been preparing both of your hearts separately because each of you needed different lessons before the next chapter could begin. You needed to discover peace without depending on another person's choices. Your soulmate needed to discover that fear is a terrible guide for important decisions. You learned resilience. They learned accountability. You learned how to protect your heart without closing it. They learned that silence often creates the very regrets it hopes to avoid. None of these lessons were easy, but every one of them carried purpose. Listen to this, because your heart needs this right now. Your soulmate has started replaying moments they once overlooked. They remember the way you celebrated ordinary victories as though they were extraordinary. They remember how naturally you encouraged them during seasons of doubt. They remember evenings when the two of you talked about dreams without realizing those conversations would one day become treasured memories. At the time, they believed those moments would always be available. Today they understand something different. The simplest moments often become the most valuable because they reveal where the heart felt safest. This message is for you. Perhaps your own intuition has become quieter but much stronger. Instead of reacting to uncertainty with fear, you respond with patience. Instead of chasing every possibility, you trust your own discernment. Maybe you've continued noticing repeating numbers like 111 whenever new hope quietly appears, 222 during seasons that ask for patience, or 444 whenever reassurance gently finds you. Whether you see these as spiritual encouragement or simply meaningful reminders, let them inspire confidence rather than anxiety. Growth often happens long before visible change arrives. Don't scroll, because your heart needs this right now. There is another truth your soulmate has begun admitting to themselves. They no longer believe the biggest mistake was simply staying silent. They believe the biggest mistake was assuming there would always be more time. They thought another opportunity would naturally appear. They assumed the future would wait until they felt ready. But life has shown them how quickly circumstances change. That realization has shifted something deep within them. They have stopped waiting for perfect certainty. Instead, they have begun valuing honest intention. Listen to this, because your heart needs this right now. Imagine your soulmate sitting quietly near a window as the evening sky slowly darkens. Their phone is nearby, but they are not distracted by it. They are thinking about every moment when honesty almost won but fear spoke first. They remember words they never said. Messages they never sent. Conversations they avoided because they believed vulnerability would make them weaker. Suddenly another realization rises inside them. Vulnerability was never weakness. It was the doorway they refused to walk through. That understanding brings both sadness and hope because for the first time they realize they still have the power to become someone different. This message is for you. Continue protecting the peace you've worked so hard to build. Continue honoring the boundaries that healing taught you to create. Continue believing that genuine love should be expressed through consistency, truth, accountability, and care. Those values are no longer negotiable. They became part of your identity through every difficult season you survived. Don't scroll, because your heart needs this right now. The truth about what your soulmate is really doing is becoming impossible to misunderstand. They are no longer running from the connection. They are examining it with honesty. Reflection has become gratitude. Gratitude has become humility. Humility is becoming courage. Every lesson has slowly prepared them to stop allowing fear to decide the direction of their future. The emotional walls that once felt permanent now seem unnecessary because they finally understand that protecting their pride cost them far more than protecting their heart ever would have. Listen to this, because your heart needs this right now. Keep trusting your own journey. Keep believing that every difficult chapter strengthened your spirit instead of diminishing it. Your story has never been defined by silence. It has been defined by growth. And as this chapter comes to a close, your soulmate stands closer than ever to the moment when years of reflection begin transforming into real choices. The truth they have carried for so long is no longer content to remain hidden. It is becoming the force that will shape every decision they make from this moment forward, leading directly into the final chapter where everything left unsaid finally demands to be heard. Don't scroll, listen to this because your heart needs this right now. This message is for you. The countdown is no longer about time. It is about truth. Your soulmate has reached the place where pretending has become more painful than honesty. For years, they convinced themselves that silence was the safest choice. They believed that if they carried everything inside long enough, eventually those emotions would become lighter. Instead, every passing season added more weight to the words they never spoke. Every sunrise reminded them of another opportunity they allowed to slip away. Every quiet evening became another conversation with themselves that always ended in the same place, you. Listen to this, because your heart needs this right now. The truth about what your soulmate is really doing is not something dramatic that the world can easily see. The greatest battle has been taking place inside their heart, where fear and love have been standing face to face for far longer than anyone realizes. For so many years they measured success through achievements, responsibilities, and appearances. They believed that if life looked complete on the outside, eventually it would begin to feel complete on the inside. They built routines. They accepted invitations. They smiled through conversations. They celebrated milestones. Yet every accomplishment quietly carried the same strange feeling. Something was missing. At first they couldn't explain it. They assumed everyone experienced that emptiness from time to time. But as life continued moving forward, they began noticing a pattern. The moments that felt most meaningful always reminded them of the emotional safety they once experienced with you. Not because everything between you was perfect, but because your connection gave them something they have struggled to find ever since. You saw them beyond appearances. You recognized the version of them they rarely allowed anyone else to see. Looking back now, they understand that being deeply understood is one of the rarest forms of love a person can ever receive. This message is for you. While your soulmate has been uncovering these quiet truths, your own heart has continued becoming stronger with every season. There was a time when you waited for signs every single day. Every unexpected notification made your heart race. Every unfamiliar phone number made you wonder if destiny was finally changing direction. But healing slowly rewrote that chapter. You stopped waiting for someone else's courage before allowing yourself to live fully. You rediscovered dreams that had nothing to do with another person's choices. You rebuilt confidence one ordinary day at a time. Today you stand in a place where your peace belongs to you. No silence can steal it. No delay can diminish it. That transformation is one of the greatest miracles your journey has produced. Don't scroll, because your heart needs this right now. The universe has been preparing both of your hearts through lessons that only time could teach. You learned that self-worth cannot be borrowed from another person's attention. Your soulmate learned that genuine love cannot survive forever beneath layers of avoidance. You discovered that healing begins with honesty toward yourself. They discovered that regret grows wherever truth is repeatedly postponed. Every difficult chapter has quietly been shaping two people who understand love very differently than they once did. Listen to this, because your heart needs this right now. Your soulmate has begun paying attention to the smallest details of life in ways they never did before. They notice the kindness strangers show one another. They hear conversations about forgiveness and second chances. They watch people choosing honesty over comfort, and something deep inside them quietly responds. Every meaningful moment reminds them that life becomes richer when people stop hiding behind fear. Slowly, almost without realizing it, they begin asking themselves whether they have been living as the person they truly wanted to become. That question refuses to leave them because they already know the answer. This message is for you. Perhaps you've continued seeing meaningful reminders throughout your own days. Maybe 111 appears whenever hope begins quietly returning. Maybe 222 reminds you that patience is not punishment but preparation. Perhaps 444 appears exactly when you need reassurance that you are not walking this journey alone. Whether you view these moments as spiritual signs or gentle encouragement, allow them to strengthen your confidence. Every lesson has been preparing you for relationships built upon honesty instead of uncertainty. Don't scroll, because your heart needs this right now. There is one memory your soulmate cannot escape. It isn't the final goodbye. It isn't the hardest conversation. It is the moment they realized you believed in them during a season when they barely believed in themselves. Looking back now, they understand that your encouragement was never ordinary. You saw possibilities inside them that they could not yet see. You celebrated progress instead of perfection. You offered acceptance before they believed they deserved it. Those memories have become impossible to replace because they reveal the kind of love they unknowingly spent years searching for afterward. Listen to this, because your heart needs this right now. Imagine your soulmate sitting quietly beneath the evening sky. The world around them continues exactly as always. Cars pass by. People hurry through their routines. The sun slowly disappears beneath the horizon. Yet inside, everything feels different. They begin reflecting on every decision fear made for them. They remember every opportunity they almost chose honesty but turned away at the last moment. They remember every conversation they shortened because vulnerability felt unfamiliar. Suddenly, one realization settles deeply into their heart. The greatest mistake was never loving too deeply. The greatest mistake was believing they had unlimited time to express that love. This message is for you. Never forget the promises you made to yourself while healing. You promised never to abandon your peace simply because uncertainty appeared. You promised to trust actions more than possibilities. You promised to honor your intuition even when your heart felt vulnerable. Continue protecting those promises. They have become part of your future. They remind you that genuine love should create emotional safety, consistency, mutual respect, and quiet confidence rather than endless confusion. Don't scroll, because your heart needs this right now. The truth about what your soulmate is really doing has become unmistakably clear. They are no longer trying to escape the connection. They are allowing it to transform them. Reflection has become gratitude. Gratitude has become humility. Humility has become courage. Courage is becoming action. Every season that once seemed like wasted time has quietly prepared them to become someone who no longer allows fear to decide the direction of their life. They now understand that authentic love is not measured only by emotion. It is measured by the willingness to be truthful, accountable, and present. Listen to this. Because your heart needs this right now. Continue walking toward your own future with confidence. Continue believing that every difficult season strengthened your spirit instead of breaking it. Continue trusting that your worth has never depended on another person's readiness. Because the countdown spoken of at the beginning of this journey was never about 5 literal minutes. It was about the final moments before illusion gives way to truth. Your soulmate has reached that threshold. The silence that once defined this story has almost reached its end. Their heart has awakened. Their perspective has changed. Their fear is losing its grip. And as this chapter closes, only one final step remains. The truth they have carried in secret for so long is preparing to leave the quiet corners of their heart and become something visible through real choices, real courage, and real actions, opening the final chapter where everything hidden finally comes into the light.